When it comes to sports, especially basketball, there are always players or teams who get the short end of the stick. They either get snubbed by losing out in a particular draft pick, don't get picked for an all-star game, MVP, Rookie of the Year, etc. But what if you already have the Finals MVP and rings? You probably feel like you also deserve the other accolades, such as Most Valuable Player and Defensive Player of the Year, right? I know I would, but I am also an intensely fierce competitor. This is why basketball players get upset when they are snubbed from a particular accolade that they really think they deserve. As a professional baller and a top 10 player, if you're denied something you want, it can sometimes fester inside of you, only to be unleashed on the rest of the league. Now, not everyone is like this, but if you are, they understandably get pissed to be denied something that they've worked so hard and long for. And in most cases, the player or players who were snubbed are potentially better than the players who received that praise and award. Many players are snubbed for many different reasons. And with that said, let's take a quick walk down memory lane and look at some of the biggest snubs, whether it's MVP, Coach of the Year, ROI, DPOY, etc., in NBA history. Derrick Rose over LeBron James and Dwight Howard in 2010-11 for MVP. Steve Nash over Kobe Bryant in 2005-6 for MVP. Karl Malone over Michael Jordan in 1996-97 for MVP, Kobe Bryant over Chris Paul and LeBron James in 2007-8 for MVP, Phil Jackson for Coach of the Year many times over, and the one that still has a ripple effect on the NBA landscape, Marc Gasol, who received Defensive Player of the Year in 2012-13 over LeBron James. But before we jump in, please remember that if you've enjoyed the video thus far and can't wait to see what gets LeBron James heated up, please remember to hit the like and subscribe buttons and make sure to tell your friends and family about the journey we are about to embark on. Now let's dive in a bit deeper. LeBron James, who is arguably the best player to ever play the game, doesn't like to be snubbed. Let's take a look at his latest snub here in 2020. The King wasn't very happy about his MVP snub to Giannis Antetokounmpo, that he recently told reporters exactly how he felt about finishing runner-up to the Milwaukee superstar who received 85 first-place votes to LeBron's 16 in this year's voting. "It pissed me off," admitted LeBron.
I'm not saying that the winner wasn't deserving of the MVP, but that pissed me off.
Who hasn't won an MVP award since 2013. "I finished second a lot in my career, either from a championship and now 4 times as an MVP. You can understand why James feels disrespected, and it is probably why LeBron is sitting in another NBA Finals this year. I mean, someone has to pay for snubbing the King. 17 years into his distinguished career, and he is still dominant as ever. People forget that LeBron is 35 years old and the best player on the planet right now. What are your thoughts about LeBron being the greatest? Is he? Is he the second? Or is he lower than that? Let us know in the comments below. The Greek Freak's defensive proficiency, as he was also this year's Defensive Player of the Year and becoming only the 3rd player to earn Defensive Player of the Year and MVP honors in the same season, may also have been a factor in why King James was so upset. It also leads us down the debate of who should get the award, the best player or the one who had the best season. In fact, neither answer is wrong. What are your thoughts on that? Let us know in the comments. But this talk about LeBron's MVP snub this year and the reasons why has led us to the last time he was snubbed for an award he thought he truly deserved. In 2009, then Cleveland Cavaliers superstar LeBron James won his first MVP award and finished a long second to Dwight Howard in Defensive Player of the Year voting. LeBron was much younger then, and conventional wisdom thought he'd win both of those awards, if not in the same year, before his illustrious career was over. Fast forward to 2020, and due to his freakishly unique athleticism and body conditioning, it is not too clear when his prime or career will end, but that doesn't mean that King James isn't happy about not getting a DPOY award. LeBron said, "I've been highly upset that I've never won Defensive Player of the Year. It was a goal of mine. It's still a goal of mine, so we'll see what happens with the rest of my career. But I've always taken that side of the floor very seriously, and being able to guard multiple positions, being able to know what teams are doing out on the floor, and putting my teammates in position to be successful, that's always been something I've taken pride in." If you want a glimpse inside the head of greatness, there it is. In fact, LeBron brought this up on his own, as you know that it has been something that has been festering for a while. You could just feel he was stewing on this. But one has to think that it is truly strange and leaves you head-scratching that he's never been named the best defensive player in the league. Maybe it's just another one of those conspiracies in the NBA. 2013 was the year that King James came the closest to solidifying a Defensive Player of the Year award, where he finished second behind then Memphis Grizzlies center Marc Gasol. Since then, LeBron James has remained an elite defender when he is fully engaged. Don't believe he still is? You must not be watching NBA in the bubble if that's the case. After finishing 6th in the voting in 2014, he has been out of the Defensive Player of the Year conversation ever since. It's very clear that LeBron wants this, as if this is the one thing that has eluded him in his professional career. It is his great white buffalo. But seriously, how does one properly distinguish who gets an MVP, DPOY, ROY, Coach of the Year, Sixth Man of the Year, etc.? One current and one former player, Shaq and Draymond Green, both offer up valid arguments on how to determine the ultimate winner. When discussing this year's MVP race on TNT, Shaq said, "LeBron is the best player in the world. So if you're the best player in the world, how can you not be MVP? You all keep talking about team or records. That ain't got nothing to do with it. I lost twice because somebody had a better record, but they still lost in the first round." Conversely, Draymond Green responded with, "But if you're the best player in the world, that doesn't always necessarily mean you had the best season. Giannis had a better season this year and last year. But if you're starting a franchise or you're picking a player to say, go get me a championship, you're picking LeBron James."
But Kenny, I feel like you were saying Giannis is the best player in the world, and I disagree with that. I think LeBron James is still the best player in the world.
No matter what the outcome, one thing is for sure. No one likes to be snubbed, especially King James.